Go ahead in the back.
Hi. So I know you just in some ways answered the question about why, but I'm confused about why you won't clarify what the president said about praying that the verdict is right and it being overwhelming. The president obviously volunteered this information. No one asked him for his opinion about the verdict. Why not say this is what the president meant?
Well, Amish, I think our objective is to the president was obviously clearly impacted by his conversation with the Floyd family just yesterday. He obviously has spoken to the video, the trial, the events of last year when they happened at the time, and he is impacted by the exhaustion and the trauma that he's seen across the country over the last several weeks. I think it was a reflection of that, but again, we're not trying to provide greater information about predictions of a verdict. We want to leave that to the jury to make that determination. They're sequestered, so they obviously can't hear or listen to anything being said, but I'm not going to have more clarification for you.
Put simply, is it wrong for Americans to see this as the president saying he hopes the officer's going to be found guilty and the evidence is overwhelming? When people see that quote, is it wrong for them to make that assumption that that's what the president's saying?
I think what people should conclude is that the president, like many Americans, has been deeply impacted by the trial. He was deeply impacted by his conversation with the Floyd family yesterday, that he understands that people are exhausted, that they are tired, that this type of violence and trauma we've seen around the country and continue to see over the past couple of weeks. And hopefully that's what they take away from his comments.
Apart from what the verdict might be, I wonder if you could speak a little bit to Americans who feel on edge, especially African Americans who've seen so many verdicts, so many trials happen, no matter whatever the outcome is. I wonder if the White House has a message for people just feeling anxious about what comes after this verdict.
Well, first I would say that, the president sees their pain and understands and tries to understand the trauma that people have been through across the country. And he's watching the trial closely. And I think he would want people to know that he is working hard at making change possible. And I walked through some of the steps that has been taken by his Department of Justice. He would love to sign the George Floyd bill into law. And that he also is here as a human being, and he sees their pain, he recognizes their loss and their trauma, and he wants to put reforms in place to help address it moving forward.
And Speaker Nancy Pelosi came to the defense of Representative Waters. Representative Waters, as you said, clarified, she said, my actual words don't matter. I wonder why the White House isn't also coming to the defense of Representative Waters, given the fact that she's now facing an onslaught of attacks, especially by, I would say, Republicans. I wonder why the White House isn't saying, we back what she said about being confrontational. She was obviously not threatening violence. There are civil rights leaders that are saying that's what civil rights is to be confrontational, to be active.
Well, she also clarified her own remarks, Amish, and I think that's the most powerful piece to point to.
They're really showing themselves to do really well. Come on, man.